really a fabulous story. It's one of the most underrated stories in college basketball, the way that Pitt has taken advantage of a loophole. It's not just the transfer portal, Bob. It's that all of these guys who were granted extra years because of COVID are still playing college basketball. So they don't just have graduate transfer players. They have older players. They have men still playing college basketball, and they have taken advantage of that better than any team in their conference this year.
Yeah, they have, but they're still not getting enough respect. And I know the ACC is down, and quite frankly, I agree with everything you said about some of those teams. But they beat Miami, they beat Virginia, they beat North Carolina twice, and yet teams are ranked ahead of them. They can take care of that. The rankings don't mean anything like they do in football, so all they have to do is keep winning, and I think they'll find themselves in a pretty good position. Let's go to the lines. Our number one Cochran Go One Better call of the night is our first one tonight. It's John in Baldwin. Hey, John.
Hey, Plum. How you doing, guys? You look great again.
Hey,
I love your tie.
Thank you.
I want to just comment. I was coming back from a meeting and I saw the Penguin fans going to the game tonight, and I'm thinking to myself, "Oh my God, this is going to be a long night for them." Well, it turns out this might be the catalyst. This might be the game that turns the things around in the second half for the Penguins. This was a big win tonight, and again, the stars always show up. You know, there's Sid in the corner there with that perfect pass to Letang to clinch it.
Yep.
This was.
But here's a cautionary tale, John.
I'm really enthusiastic about the Penguins tonight. I really am.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. It's a great win. But this happens all too often where they come out flat for the first period, and if it's not for a really good effort and goal, they fall behind and they can't make it up. They also have given up goals late in periods. They've also given up goals right after they score. There are a lot of these things. One game is not going to erase that from my memory. They have to get rid of that. They go on the road now. They play Anaheim on Friday. They play LA Kings on Saturday. So these are points you got to get because, like I said, Sabres are good and they're getting better, I think. And you look at the Islanders now that they have their newest acquisition who made his debut the other day. So, you got to keep winning, Andrew, and you got to try to get out of that last seed. I don't like that position, either of the wild cards.
Yeah, I feel better about Carolina than I would Boston. Boston is just so good defensively. They're by far the best 200 feet team in the NHL. They're older. And so you wonder about, once they get to April and May, do they have enough gas in the tank to get through the 2-month crucible that is the Stanley Cup playoffs? I'm not sure, but that would be the one thing I would like about Boston if I'm a Penguins fan is that Boston would have the bullseye on them. They would be the hunted, and the Penguins, for once, would be playing with almost a dark horse, devil may care kind of attitude. And it's about time that they won a first-round series. They're kind of like the Steelers in that regard. Like, can you get out of that first game or that first series in the playoffs? It's been way too long since they beat the Flyers the year after they won their second of 2 Stanley Cups, since they got out of that first round. But Boston right now looks like a team that is just going to strangle you with their great two-way play in all 3 zones in the Stanley Cup playoffs. And from that perspective, I agree with you, Bob. I'd much rather play Carolina or get up to 3rd in the Eastern Conference than have to start my playoffs with a series against Boston. Then if you win that, you get the winner of Toronto-Tampa Bay, which is going to be another pain in the neck.
Right, and they're going to knock each other out in the very first round, which led Connor McDavid to say, I don't like this system. We should change it. Sidney Crosby agreed with it, and I think I don't like second and third place teams in each one playing because typically we saw it with Pittsburgh, Washington. You're going to see it again here with Tampa and Toronto. Somebody's going to get knocked out, and I know you got to play them eventually, but you should have, for finishing second in your division, a little bit of an easier opponent than right off the bat Tampa Bay. Stanley Cup champions, many of those guys. So I don't know. I could see either way working. I just don't like the current way. I didn't when they adopted it. I still don't like it. And by the way, the one thing I would be concerned about is Linus Ullmark. He has been terrific all season long. That's the one thing the Penguins.
But he's only got to make like 15 saves a game. That's the thing about the way they play. He's not getting taxed. He's going to win the Vezina, but he's not going to have to work very hard to do it, Bob.
Carl joins us in Moon, Andrew. Let's go out there. Hey, Carl.
Hi, Carl.
Hey, Mr. Pompeani. Duke and NC are very average this year, and therefore the ACC is very average. And I think that's why Pitt really is where they're at now.
True.
Now, they played West Virginia and Michigan earlier in the year, and I understand that's like months ago. But until they beat somebody outside the very mediocre ACC, I mean, I'm just going to take a nap and wait till March Madness.
Well, and they'll get in it, though, if they keep doing that. And Wake Forest tonight, I think they were leading North Carolina. I don't know what North Carolina's turned into, but they're not very good, Andrew. I don't know if you saw any of that game tonight, but they were down very big early. I don't know if they overcame it or not, but, I mean, that's not a good game for them. And Pitt's beat them twice.
Well, Pitt right now, if you look at the teams that are on the fringe, okay, so Clemson, even though they're in first place, is also looked at as a bubble team. They lost to them at home. Not good. But they went to Northwestern and won. Northwestern is actually a team that's very close to getting in. Are they in? Are they not in? They're right in that conversation. West Virginia, they lose to them. So that's not good. But they went to NC State and they won. They beat Wake Forest at home. The thing, if you look at all of these teams that are on the bubble, Pitt might have had more opportunities against this team, but they have more wins over good teams than most of these bubble teams that we're talking about. And that's how I would look at it if I was on the committee. Have you proven that you can beat good teams when you play them?
Yep.
And I think Pitt has done that this year.
Yeah, you forgot to say even Virginia at home. They beat them, Miami.
Now, but Virginia's a lock to make the tournament. They're ranked in the top 25. Right. They're like a 3 seed right now. They're a top 15 team.
And Pitt beat
That's
them.
Probably Pitt's best win of the season, that and at North Carolina.
Steve joins us in Brookline. Steve, can you make it quick, please? We're up against a break.
Yeah, hey, Pony Pump. Real quick, a lot of the rhetoric about the Pens this year was whether or not bringing the big three back was the right decision. I think it no doubtedly was. All three of them are playing great. It's those albatross contracts with Kapanen, Carter, and Dumoulin just falling off the face of the earth.
So is Bluger.
Yeah, right. Those are their biggest issues. And just real quick, Pony, great interview with James Jones the other day. Him describing that screen pass where he decided to go down to Jordy Nelson was incredible. Whole new respect for that.
I didn't hear that. You're going to have to tell me about it when we have more time. Real quick, give me a prop bet that you're looking at seriously.
Bob, one of my favorites in this game is Miles Sanders to go over his rushing yard prop. And the reason why I like it so much for the local guy from Woodland Hills and from Penn State is because those Chiefs corners are rookies. And if the safeties have to stay back to play that passing game and give their corners help against Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown, I think in that RPO game, it's going to open up things for Sanders. That total is like 55 yards. I think he could get that at halftime if the Eagles exploit that probably X's and O's outlook from the Chiefs defensively. They don't blitz a lot. They'll probably be in their base defense. And I think that could be a big game, a big day for Miles Sanders.
I wouldn't disagree with that. And they have a big offensive line that's capable of moving some bodies. We're going to take a break here, come back with more. You're watching the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call, Pittsburgh CW.